Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Wisdom Artificial Intelligence. So today is Jan 15th. Let's go ahead get started for today. I'm bringing you this from my afternoon walk here in Bangalore. And today's dose of Rashmi is unconscious intelligence operates on logic, limiting your role to be a clown in the circus of life. Wisdom is unlocking your intelligence beyond logic and gliding through life like a trapeze artist. So let me share the reflection and how I got to this. So this was based on an earlier insight that I've shared before as well, and a repeat insight from Sadhguru around, do you want your life to be logical or magical? As I reflected on that through my real wisdom artificial intelligence lens, as well as the wisdom led operating model. On the wisdom led operating model, this dose hits at capacity. When you operate purely out of logic, our capacity is limited by the logical constraints that we place, which all seem very, very logical, very scientific in terms of drawing boundaries, protecting your energy, and things like that. And yes, there is a lot of value to that. However, when you do realize that there is a whole intelligence within you, which is way beyond what your logical brain is able to comprehend, then your capacity becomes infinite. For me, in terms of my very lived experiences, I have had two phases of my life work persona. One pre stroke, I led a very logical, successful corporate career by all definitions of external success. And since then, I've pivoted where I have embraced my whole self, and I advise people about product and innovation. Yet I also combine my deeply spiritual side, and that's how the RASHMI.ai has come about. So as I do this, there is a two logical interpretations that I'm met with. One, if you think about everything that I'm doing in terms of my own venture, the RASHMI.ai, then I'm the founding chairperson for Seed. I record these daily insights. I also write a newsletter, detailed newsletter every week. Plus, I am recently I've gotten engaged in another project called the One Mind that I've talked about yesterday, building an app very focused on meditation and connecting people. And there are many other initiatives through the companies that I've gotten engaged with and the entrepreneurs, as well as the academic institutes that I've gotten engaged with. For example, last week I was at ComsNet, a premier communication systems and networks conference, and I'm part of the organizing committee there. Through Siege, we are working on signing an MOU with people in Indonesia around driving the energy transition, decarbonization roadmap and plan. So one aspect of all of this, I brainstorm very regularly with my AI co-pilots, and all of them, when they look at everything that I'm doing, the logical pushback and the logical interpretation from all of them is, so you are doing all this. You are one human being. How are you going to really be able to do all this? You need to determine a scaling plan, and I totally get the value of that. And I, based on all those recommendations, I've been adding people where needed. So I do get the point about scaling. I'm not dismissing that. At the same time, that is what logical intelligence will make you feel that this is not possible for one human being to do. Then the other aspect of the logical interpretation of what that lifestyle that I lead, when everybody else, my AI co-pilots know the details of everything that I am doing. Most other human beings that I interact with don't really know the details of what I'm doing. They see one particular aspect of my persona that they interact with. For everything else, they see me as somebody who's engaged in my deep morning spiritual practices, my fitness regimen. Then I go for these walks during the day. And I work only with clients that I feel completely aligned with. I approach everything as if I have infinite, unlimited capacity. So when I do that, the perception that that gives to everybody that I meet externally is, you can afford to do this because you are kind of living a retired life. You are not really actively engaged in work anymore. You are doing this as if you're retired and just focused on doing some of these initiatives, not really serious about all of that. So that is the logical mind's interpretation. And the reason for that, as I reflect on it, is because we are all programmed in the modern society about this idea that work has to be something that is soul sucking, in that you have to do in order to earn a living so that you can live a life outside of work. That is the logical idea about work. And when everybody sees somebody who's not engaged in that soul sucking work and just having to work so that you can earn a living and live a life, that doesn't compute in the logical mind. However, that is precisely what, through my lived experiences, I have realized that just like me, any one of us can do this, where if we truly get aligned internally and unlock our intelligence way beyond the logical intelligence alone, our capacity is unlimited. We can do whatever we want to do through complete alignment with our internal self, and naturally, care will emerge at that point. That is the third C of the wisdom led operating model.